Hello everybody, Jordan here with the Farm Builder channel, and you guys have submitted a lot of questions, so kind of split it up over a couple videos, put them in different categories, and we'll jump right in with this first one and cover pig stuff. We'll hammer through these real fast. If you want a more detailed and laid out answer, I would encourage you to check out the pork schools that we do, or shoot me an email and we can set something up. But for now, we'll jump in these questions and rock and roll. Sue Hall said, I don't know if you've already covered this. Do you deworm your pigs, and do you keep boars separate from the sows? We do worm pigs when we wean them as piglets. We take them from a sow set. We will give them some, totally forgetting the name. It's a powder-based wormer that we can put in their feed, and I'll drop a link to it below once I remember what it was. They're on that for 2 weeks before we send them off to other farms. As far as sows go, we do not worm them very often. It's as needed, and it's been once or twice in the last 6-7 years. The key element to controlling parasites and worms in sows is your rotation, having extended rest periods between touches with your groups of pigs. If you are keeping pigs in one area continually, you will have to worm. And we don't fool around using garlic or diatomaceous earth or these other things. If we're going to worm, we are busting out the Ibomec or Safeguard. That's what it is, Safeguard. Do you keep boars separate from sows? And that ties in with another question here. Have you ever had a problem with boars breaking through electric fence to get the sows in heat? So managing the boars, for us, we're big enough that our boars are continually in use. When they're done breeding one set, they're going to shift over to another set and start breeding them because we are farrowing, weaning, and breeding every month. We have 6 different groups of sows, and they're all offset from each other. So our boars are always in motion, going from one set to the other. We walked 2 of them down from one group to another one the other day. If we had to keep them separate, we would have another area set up far away where they wouldn't be able to detect any sows, and they would be fine. That's something big I've noticed with the management system that we have. Our boars are not aggressive. Our boars are kitty cats. I've never had one even snap at me or try to get cross with me. Sows are something I keep an eye on. Boars, they're just lazy dogs, and they've worked really well for us. Now that could be because they're always with the ladies and they've always got something to do, but it's not something that we worry too much about. I think we've had one boar in the past that would hop over electric fence or break through and go exploring for new ladies. He went to the sausage house pretty fast. So all the guys that we have on farm right now are very compliant with electric fence. And that's one of our selection protocols. If a sow or a boar isn't with the program, with staying in with electric fence, he goes away. And guess what? Our problems with breakouts from single strand electric fence have gone down significantly from when we first started years ago, because that is a trait that we are selecting for, is this kind of docile, maybe a little bit lazy pig that is fine to stay in the paddock. All right, 3 questions here. The one we just covered with the boars. Do you have any problems with disease or sickness in your pigs? What's the most common and how often does it occur? Worms or parasites would be the most common thing you have to watch out for, because pigs constantly have their face in the dirt, and you need to be aware for that. We have had an issue with lepto in the past, and so we do a vaccination program for that. But for the most part, it is monitoring your pigs and being aware of what a healthy pig looks like more often than knowing what sick pigs look like. The same is with handling counterfeit currency. You train towards what real currency feels like. And if we know what a healthy pig looks like and acts like, we'll know when they're off and when to get the vet involved or people with more experience. You can go on Google and find you can put in some symptoms and have 100 different answers pop up. So if you're having a problem, definitely get your vet involved. The third question, do you ever have any problems with cannibalism with your sows after farrowing? If so, how often or common is it? Cannibalism does happen. Typically, it will be a sow cannibalizing another litter, and that's one of the things to be very aware of when you are in a group farrowing setting. Feeding plays a big role in this. If the sows are deficient in protein as they are coming up to weaning, they're going to be looking for a little snack. And so, yeah, it's a problem that we've had occasionally. We've figured out some ways to mitigate that, but it is something to be very aware of. Nature, it seems, equips species of animals with either one baby and a very highly attentive mother and a non-cannibalistic tendencies, or for species where the mothers are less careful and more cannibalistic, you just shotgun out a lot of babies and hope that some of them make it. Now, us as managers, we are trying to get all of the babies to survive, and so we have to intervene from time to time. We found that most cannibalism will happen in the first day, so either we can fence a sow in with just a fence around her to keep the other ones away till the piggies are dry and going, or if we're using the shelters, we can just block her in to the shelter. Now, if it's a systemic problem, you may have to get rid of sows that are cannibalistic. You know, if we have one particular sow that's going around and cannibalizing other litters in a particular set, she's going to be gone. That's not something you want to keep around. Jackie Coggins had a question here. What breed of pigs do you seem to sell the most of, or what breed is the most marketable? Much bigger topic. You have your standard kind of heritage breed, Yorkshire, Hampshire, Berkshires, Tamworths, etc. Then you have your more exotic breeds like your AGAs, Coonies, Mangalitsa's, and so on. For us, we have developed our own closed herd over the last 8 years and built around the phenotype that we want. It's a pig that will grow out fast at 300 pounds in about 8 months or so, good mothering instincts. We're going for a balance across the board instead of having a superpower in one thing. So a lot like when, you can ask your kids how they set up their Madden players or their, Halo players, Gears of War, whatever. You can have a really strong advantage in one area but be weak in another. It's the same thing with animal genetics. You can have a really strong birth rate. You can be putting 18 piglets out at a time, but it's probably going to be a sow that does not have good mothering instincts or is susceptible to hip and joint problems, and so on and so on. So what we are going for is a good level across the board, that we want them to have 8 pigs at weaning. We want them to have good mothering instincts. We are fine if it takes a little bit longer to grow out than, say, if they were in a hog house, but we want balance across the board. For us, that's the kind of breed. We are not looking for, we're only going to do this kind of breed or that kind of breed. We want a pig that's going to do well in our environment, in the management system that we have, and the production metrics that we need to hit. So if you can make that happen with, a Tamworth or Blacks or Mulefoots or whatever, that's not so much the point. On marketing, there's brilliant marketing done by certain groups, say Black Angus or Berkshire, pigs, where they are marketing on the reputation that they have built around that specific breed. Something I'm pretty convinced of is that flavor, taste, marbling, all that is about 80% your management system and 20% breed. You can have a good tasting rangy hog and you can have a horrible tasting fat hog. It's in your management. And so instead of focusing and dropping big money on a specific breed, use pigs that are going to work well in your system. Griffin Webb, is it possible to use pigs to clear brushland in Australia? No, you can only do that in the United States. Pigs will only clear brushland here in the United States. Of course, I'm joking. Yes, pigs work great for clearing brushland. You have to concentrate them up a little bit tighter to get them to root into the brush and tear it out. But, you've seen pictures and videos of what we're doing here. Our hog range you could not walk through when we came here. It had been logged over 10 years prior, and it was 10, 15 feet high in multiflora rose bush, which is a wild thorny bush that just takes over woods around here. And pigs have cleared all of that out. So you certainly can use pigs to clear some land. Let's see here. Next question. You said in Justin's video that you mix the hog feed yourself. Could you do a video on that? Yeah, we may do that someday. For us, I'll go into more detail if and when we do that. We blend all of our own feeds. The main reason we did that was cost savings. We save tens and tens of thousands of dollars a year by mixing our own feed. Now, it works for us because we are feeding out 6-8 tons of feed a week or something like that. And so we're doing a lot of feed, and it justifies the cost of the equipment, the wagons, the grinder mixer, all that kind of stuff. It's a enterprise. When you're grinding your own feed, you got to have more equipment and gear to pull it off. But if you're at a scale that can justify it, it will definitely save a lot of money. How do you guys handle castrating? We do it. I actually do have an unlisted video on how we will castrate larger piglets. I might do something in the future. on, all sizes from 1 day old, 2 weeks old, all the way to bigger piglets. If you happen to, have something that you have to do, that is going to remain an unlisted video though, because I don't need that love and attention that PETA will bring to a YouTube channel when you have those kind of videos. If you do want to see it, drop me a comment or an email would be better. So you can email me at farmbuilders with an S at Gmail, and I can send you that link and you can see how we do it. Let's see, more questions. Did you deworm your pigs? We already covered that. How do you separate the sows at different boardings? I'm not sure what that means. Maybe farrowing. Yeah, I'm not sure what that question means. What do you do with sows and chickens when it rains? They get rained on. I mean, they're animals. They are used to living outdoors. They have shelters they can go under. They have trees, but unless it is cold, pigs will be outside in the rain and rolling around in it. What time do you butcher pigs and chickens? So pigs, we're looking for a live weight of about 300 pounds. Poultry, we'll cover that in another video, but we're doing those at about 7 to 8 weeks and getting about a 4.5 to 5 pound average. What do you do with your boars? Harvest mint. What do you do with your boars when you don't need them? If you butcher them, how do you experience have you experienced boar taint that boars are controversially supposed to have? Do you know any way to avoid taint without castration? So boar taint is a genetic tendency. You can do a biopsy, and a guy named Walter Jeffries has a way to detect that. You can look him up. He does not do YouTube that I know of. He's got a big blog though, Sugar Mountain Farm, where he talks about boar taint. For us, when we retire boars, we are actually putting a lot of that meat into pet food, and it's being blended with chicken and some other ingredients. And so if there is a slight taint to it, it's going to be masked by those other ingredients and be sold for pets. We also eat a lot of that ourselves or give it away to friends. Most people cannot detect the taint that is in our boars. I can smell it, but when eating it, it's fine. But they can have a little bit of a flavor to it, and that is, as the question posed, a common way that it is dealt with is to castrate those retired boars, give them 4 or 5 months, maybe shorter, to heal up and for that pheromone to clear out of their system, and then you can butcher them. And that may be something worth doing, because if you think about it, you got a 700-pound boar hog, you're going to retire him. You could send him down to the stock sale. You're going to get like $50 for him, or you could pay the vet $200 to come out and nip him, hang on to him for another 3 months, butcher him as a regular pig, and you could get $2,500, $3,000 worth of sausage out of them. So it may be something worth doing. But we retire boars every year, and like I said, that's what we do with them. Have you tried nose rings in your swine or seen them being used? Definitely seen nose rings. We've cut nose rings out of pigs way back 10 years ago when we first started buying feeder pigs. We do not use nose rings. I think it's an inhumane thing to do to the pig. And also, when you're doing a lot of pigs, that's a lot of extra work and time to actually grab each one of them, pop that ring in their nose, and as they're growing, you got to keep putting more and more. I've seen sows with 10 rings in their nose, and it might stop them some, but that's a lot of hassle. So we're just going to adjust our management to where it's not something that's a problem for them to root. And in fact, with our overseeding program and using cows, we encourage rooting because we want that soil disturbed to plant our seeds in the ground. All right, 2 questions here from Daniel Oates. How do you consider butchering your own pork and beef on farm? And what are your thoughts on soy and feed? So for us, pork and beef, that has to be done USDA. We do not have a USDA facility, and that's very expensive to put one out. So that's something that we are going to do elsewhere. And we've got a couple of processors around us that we work with that do all of our pork and beef. Yes, it is expensive. The first $1.50 or so of our price per pound is chewed up in USDA processing costs, but it is what it is. Certainly had discussions about maybe doing that someday, but it's something you got to have volume to justify. You need to have expertise. You need to have people who are passionate about doing it. It's not something to just kind of willy-nilly do one weekend. What are your thoughts on soy and feed? I have no problem putting soy in feed. There are some people who are possibly sensitive to some of the trace proteins that are in soybeans or the what do they call it, phytoestrogens. I think that is an extremely small percentage of the population, and if that's something we've had people ask for soy-free chicken especially, and it is far more expensive to produce a soy-free feed and to feed to a chicken or a pig. And when we put out, hey, we're going to do some soy-free chicken, it's going to cost this much more, sign up in advance and pay a deposit, no one has taken it. So maybe in your market you can do that. I personally don't see a problem with soy in feed. Let's see, any other questions? All right, I think this is the last question on pigs. I was watching a documentary, and this is from Aiden Zanker. I was watching a documentary last night called King Corn. In it, they fed the cows mostly corn, and once weaned, they could only feed them that 90% corn for only 150 days, blah, blah, blah. Lacked muscle, very fat and slower because they wouldn't die if you didn't. If that being said, what is your animal's diets? I know your animals are on grass, etc. All right, this is kind of the question. Do you supplement, and if so, what is it? What's your percentage, and is it organic feed? So it's kind of, I'll modify this question into, do you need to feed pigs and poultry feed? And I guess there's no simple answer to this, that no, you could get away without feeding those animals grains, but your stocking density, the number of animals that you could have on the farm, would be so low that the cost would be through the roof. A chicken can scratch its living off of the ground and grow, but it will take quite a bit more time for him to find enough seeds and bugs to do that. And the amount of animals that you could have on the particular farm would be so low that we'd be looking at chicken going, to like $20 a pound in order to justify the cost. For pigs to get all of their feed just from foraging nuts, which really is only a couple months in the fall, and roots, which is, when the ground isn't frozen, and forages when the ground isn't frozen, you would be looking at pork that would be very, very expensive. So could you raise omnivorous animals, which would be pigs and poultry, without feed? Yes, it theoretically could be done. Those animals exist in the wild, but the cost would be so astronomically high that you basically have priced yourself out of any potential market, or you were in such a niche market that you would have to have an amazing distribution system and probably be shipping to very conscientious eaters who are willing to pay the extreme premium on that product. So there is a balance between a fully commoditized, industrialized system and a fully natural, basically wild animal type of system that we have to balance. All right, can we get the benefits of what the animal has from a wild type of life, the better ratios of omega-3s and 6s, the better texture and flavor in the meat? Can we capture that, but can we incorporate some elements of modernization into the process so that we can actually have a profitable enterprise here? And that balance is usually struck by feeding these omnivores grains, both pigs and chickens, that we can put them on the pasture or we can put them in the woods. We have a management system that will mimic a natural habitat, but we are going to give them the grains as well in order for them to grow in a relatively timely fashion so that we can still have a product to bring to market that is reasonably priced. Not many people can afford $20 a pound chicken, or a pig that's going to cost them $5,000 to get. And so these are the market factors that influence this, but also too, what we're doing is just concentrating what these animals would do in the wild. Birds and pigs are going to eat a lot of seeds and a lot of fruits and whatever they can get their mouths onto, because they cannot metabolize forage into protein like an herbivore can. They have to have calorically dense foods in their diet in order to thrive. They could be a rangy, skeleton just eating grass, but for them to actually grow, put on muscle, put on fat, which is really what we need as humans, is protein and fat, they have to have the calories in their diet. They have to have the proteins. And so the way that we do that as farmers is by using grains. And I know there's a wide spectrum of opinions on this, and people have their positions, and that's perfectly fine. If you want to buy products that are being produced, essentially a wild animal that's being harvested, awesome. My family, we eat a lot of venison because we're on a farm. I see a lot of deer. Last year we put 7 deer in the freezer, and we eat a lot of venison. That's a very sustainable, very nutritious protein. That's not available for everyone, and that's why we grow meats, and we try to achieve this balance between a wild system and a fully industrial system. There has to be a balance somewhere between those two, and every farm is going to find kind of where their market and their ethics and their overall view on how it should work, you're going to fall somewhere in that spectrum. And there's reasons everyone is where they are. So hope those answered those questions. That would cover the pig section. We'll cover some of the more other questions that I grouped into different categories and post those videos up. But for now, this one's already a 20-minute video, a long video, but I appreciate you guys sticking around, and keep the comments coming. Loving all the new subscribers, like 8,000 something have come in here recently. And I'll throw in a plug. If you are interested in pigs, we do a farrow to finish school. We've got one coming up here soon. We'll have more in the future if you're watching this video down the road. Right now it is September 2019. Definitely check out links that are in the comments for that. That's where we bring producers out to our farm, show them how we do this thing at scale. And really, this is the in-depth school that I wish I had back when I was starting. We don't hold anything back. We look at the numbers, we look at costs, talk about the very reality, the actual realities of producing this, and not just the fluffy hypotheticals that are out there. This is a hands-on, intensive production school, and we'd love to have you come out. And until the next video, I got a few more chores left to do out here, so I better get off my butt and get after it.